Hey guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another YouTube video. So I thought I'd start this one in a little bit of a different way. I thought I'd start this one with where I think we are in the cycle. Now, I've spoken about this a few times over there on X and a few times in live streams, so if you follow me a lot, then you'll know exactly what I think. I thought we got a bit over enthusiastic at the start of the cycle. We've been chopping and cooling off for a long time now. It feels like forever, 6 months or so. And I think we're in this sort of period here, getting ready for that parabolic run-up. And I actually quote retweeted somebody yesterday. I haven't got that tweet prepared. They were talking about pretty much the same thing as I would mention it as well. And my laptop's really hot right now, so I don't know why it's. If you can hear it, I'm sorry. He was talking about how M2, which is like basically money in the system, and the relationship between when money breaks out and when Bitcoin breaks out. It's going to show you through. This is a Harris Ebrat on Twitter. I don't know much about him. I just saw this tweet and it resonates very well with like what I've been talking about right now. So he basically thinks we are in this sort of grey period here, this grey period here before expansion, this grey period here before heavy expansion. That's basically where he thinks we are now if we look at M2 and compare that to where we are, which goes very well with what I was talking about here when I was talking about this is the total market cap of crypto. And I also wrote about what he was talking about there in terms of liquidity. Liquidity, basically, I've talked about. This was 2 weeks ago in the news. This is why I keep banging my head against the wall saying, please just read this. It's not massively text heavy. It's pictures with some text. And you don't even have to agree, but just listen to my opinion on why I think these things. Newsletter's free to read. Completely free. It's out weekly. So I talked about how Jerome Powell is going to cut rates. The first rate cut is coming. I don't know if my mic's playing up or not. The first rate cut is coming next week. Whether it's going to be 25 basis points or 50, we don't know yet. Could it be 25 basis points with the end of QT? That would be really bullish for the market. But at the same time, I spoke about how Michael Howard talks about how Yellen's been over to Asia, China, and Japan, and talking about how they are weakening the dollar in general against Asian currencies. So could that be an extra boost for markets in general? It means that like emerging markets or markets that are tied to the dollar can expand, or like everyone basically not tied to the dollar. I mean like relates to the dollar in some way, has a relationship with it. If the dollar is strong, everything else is probably weak. If the dollar is weak, everything else can be more strong. Basically, like what I'm trying to say is everyone's monetary policy is in some way related to the dollar because essentially you value every currency in dollars. So whatever the dollar does has a direct effect on every other economy in the world. So if the dollar is weak, it gives like more of a playing field for strength in other areas of the world and in their economies as well, not just in their currencies, because stronger the currency, probably the stronger the economy. Not always like that, because if they're net exporters, etc., but we can get into that another time. Anyway, the DXY looks like it could be falling down further, could come all the way down to 95. We've talked about what happened last time the DXY dropped from this level to this level. That was when Bitcoin ran from 15,000 to 70,000. Now, could we be getting something like that coming very soon? Potentially at the same time as money becomes cheaper in general and monetary like liquidity expands around the world, that could lead to a significant uptick in crypto. And I talk more about like where this strength could come from and why. And I do think that's important. So it's not just charts that I'm showing you as to why I think that. Like I do think we are getting ready for something like this, something at least to, I've said my minimum target was 9.3 trillion, which is only 250% higher than our previous high. So it sounds like a lot, but it isn't ridiculous. Now, that's my longer term thesis, as in the next 6 months to 18 months. Short term, let's have a look at Bitcoin. We look at Velo here. Bitcoin, obviously, let's just go on the hourly to start with, and then I'll come back to the 15-minute because I just want to show you what's happened since the bottom. So we set the low of 52.5, and then we started to grind up since then. And yesterday we had some short squeezes. I talked about this specifically on X, saying that a lot of people were coming into the market with leverage, but also funding was negative. Now we're at the highs. I drew a little white line in. You'll know I quote retweeted it twice. I drew a little white line in around here. Said it'll be interesting to see what happens at this level. We got the little short squeeze. We rejected that, but now sellers are stepping in again, or short positions are stepping in again. And I think they're going to add fuel to the fire for more of a squeeze higher, essentially. As long as leverage shorts keep coming into the market, this is spot volume, and spot keeps buying behind the shorts. Shorts are just going to continue to get squeezed, and this is how we form bottoms, guys. This is sort of the sort of thing that I really would be looking for, and makes me more bullish. There is an open area here that I do think it's possible we come back and test, but as these moves start to gain momentum, they can move pretty quickly, as we've had months of short positions, and people are in that mind that, I mean, you see it all over Twitter, people have started to short the bottom. All these people have capitulated mentally, and this is how we get squeezes out of this zone. So that's potentially what's coming. I want to show you trading different as well. This is the liquidity pools. We have significant liquidity above us. We do have some at the stop loss area below, but yeah, there is a lot to the upside. So just finally, I want to touch on a few different alts. If we look at, my laptop is going mental. I'm sorry if you can hear it. I don't know why it's so hot today, but it is for some reason. If we look at some alts, I want to just look at Sushi Swap and Aave to start with. I know this is a bit different to the sort of thing I look at normally, but the ETH ecosystem, ETH DeFi tokens did pretty well yesterday. I just want to point that out and say, keep your eye on Sushi Swap, but also Aave's been doing pretty well over the last few weeks. Structurally looks quite different. I also want to say ApeCoin looks still, again, yesterday another good day. It closed a bit of a market. We had a bit of a structure break there, setting a higher low and then creating a higher high. So that's also interesting to me. XRP, we'll cover XRP quickly. We closed this gap, that the area that I wanted us to close, we closed this candle. That's what I wanted us to do. I said we could pull back into this grey area. That's exactly what we've done. Now I'm just looking to see how XRP performs against Bitcoin and ETH. As you guys know, we've been looking at that for a while. Let's show you XRP against ETH. We want to set a higher low in and around here somewhere, wherever we are now. We are at resistance. Resistance is obviously difficult to break through. As always, this area has been a key area of resistance. As you guys know, we've been trying to fight that since the 10th of August, so a month now. We haven't yet broken it, but we did set a higher high here, so we would be looking for a higher low if we can, then to continue. Against Bitcoin, pretty much the same, like nothing's really changed. Like, yes, we're drooping down against Bitcoin. We might come back and test this level again here. I did say that we closed a gap in that level, and we touched the gap, but we didn't close it. So that is what we might actually try and do. Look, there's a gap here. If you can see on the hourly time frame for XRP against Bitcoin, now we bounced exactly on top of it, but we didn't close it. So we could come and close that gap first before we start to head off against Bitcoin. But ultimately massively bullish, because if Bitcoin's market cap expands, then when XRP continues this trend, this is on the daily against Bitcoin. If XRP and when XRP continues this trend, let's go for the weekly. We obviously outperformed for a long while, and now we're chopping out at the resistance level that I wanted us to close above. When we get that close, we should see explosive price action against Bitcoin. So the higher Bitcoin price is, the better it is for XRP. So that's one positive there. And the same for ETH. You're going to have some periods of working these things out. This is why we want this close, because that's when it starts to get super exciting for XRP. So they're basically all the cryptos I'm watching right now. This is where I said I thought we were, and this isn't accurate because it's just on TradingView. That's about right now. Basically, I was saying that the fear and greed index is lower at this point than it was back at 24K, and that means, at least in terms of sentiment, people have capitulated. So that's why I wrote about that in the newsletter this week. I said that bottoms are formed when people are capitulating, and that is what's happening. I presume that is what continues to happen. It doesn't mean we can't get any weird price movements this week, with CPI obviously being on the 11th. And then obviously rate cuts next week, and whatever the Fed decide to do. Like, there's still a lot out there that could change things one way or another. But for now, I'm bullish, and shorts are getting squeezed at the lows. Is looking quite positive as spot buying comes in. Everything looks like it's had a nice cool off. It's ready to turn itself back up, and it could happen a lot faster than people think. So I've been saying for weeks, DCAing at these prices is not an awful idea, and I continue in that vein. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you did enjoy the video, please do subscribe. hit the like button. It helps out my algorithm and it's free to do. Thanks for watching. Peace up, A-Town Down, as Crypto Insight UK would say.